Minecraft Dungeons. No, 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 we're not talking about that game here. We're talking about these bad boys. The actual Minecraft dungeons that you find in your world that contain a spawner that spawns mobs. Like that. Now, these bad boys have been in the game since 2010, and since then they have gone through basically no changes whatsoever. And so today we're going to take a look at what these could look like if they were spruced up a little bit, made a little bit more interesting. Hiya! And we are currently in a skeleton dungeon here. As you saw from that intro, we're going to be transforming this today. And we're going to actually do 3 transformations. One for each of the different Minecraft dungeon. Starting off with the skeleton, then we'll go zombie, and we'll finish off with the regular spider spawner. Now, I know I'm also kind of in a mineshaft here, but I think I'm going to save the mineshafts as a whole for a separate video, because they're another structure that really, really needs an update. So we're just going to focus on this structure here right now. And I have a few ideas. First and foremost, this square shape has got to go. It's boring, it's simple, it's basic. It just doesn't look good. So we're going to change that up to a different block. And I'm thinking tough blocks could be a really, really fun thing to use. However, as many variants as we have of this, we don't have any mossy variant, we don't have any cracked variant. And I feel like for a dungeon that's very worn down and kind of grimy, we kind of need those sorts of blocks. And I'm not going to keep, for the skeletons one specifically, I'm not going to keep the iconic cobblestone and mossy cobblestone too much. Maybe I'll leave it as a floor or something. But I think the walls being a nice stone brick instead will make it look a lot more like a classic Minecraft dungeon, or a video game dungeon, sorry, because that's where a lot of this inspiration is coming for how I'm gonna do this design. And so I'm gonna go ahead and change the shape up a little bit. Hey, look at me go. And I'm thinking we're gonna have a little bit of a narrow hallway opening up into an area that will have little prison cells on either side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick and check back in with you once I like the shape and the wall texture a little bit better. So I went ahead and did that real quick. And I think this is a much more interesting shape just in general. So I think we're gonna roll with this. Now, I want to have some prison cells in here to make this feel a little bit more like an actual dungeon. So I think we'll have it set back a block to make this have a little bit more space. I always associate skeleton dungeons with being fairly cramped, and then you have usually maybe one room that's a little bit bigger. Have some prison cells, usually with some dead skeletons inside of it. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's get some iron bars, some iron trap, or regular old doors. Plop those in, and this already looks very much like an actual dungeon. Now, another thing I want to try and do is hide where the spawners are, because I feel like it's a little bit too easy to be able to just come in here, place one torch, and then immediately have it disarmed. I think it would be nice if you had maybe to work a little bit harder to be able to find at least where the spawner is. I don't think there's anything I can do about stopping the players from just lighting up this whole area, but I think it'll be a little bit more interesting if we can just hide it a little bit. So for this case, I think we'll have it random based on generation on what side it spawns in. And just for now, let's hide it in the ground here, so that way it's not visible from inside these windows. So you have to guess which one it is and go in and either break it, which would be pure evil if you were in survival, or you go in and light it up a little bit better so you don't have to worry about it. Now, another thing I want to consider doing actually is adding some regular moss. Moss, especially since we're in a lush cave right now, technically, I think would work in these sorts of dungeons. So it would be kind of cool even if you added a little moss carpet there. You can still see the particles coming through, but then it's even more hidden. Now, another thing I want to consider and talk about is the possibility of having an ice variant of this dungeon. This is very much inspired by Stardew Valley, which has some levels in its mines that are skeleton, and it's the ice layers of the mine where you find a lot of iron in that game. So if you know Stardew Valley, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go play Stardew Valley so you do know what I'm talking about. And we'll do some of that in here. So I think it could also be an interesting concept if instead of this moss, we had a very icy theme. Imagine how cool it would be if we had ice bricks in this game. So instead of just these 3 regular ice blocks, this one melting, these 2 not, it would be so cool if we could have an icy brick, and that would make snow brick as well could be a really good addition. And it could make just the ice areas in general a little bit more interesting. So that is what I would do if I had access to that sort of block, but since I do not, we're going to see how it looks with just the moss, and maybe at the end I'll replace all of it with ice and we can have a look at what that idea would look like as well. Now, I also maybe want to include a lever on only one of these doors, like perhaps this one, just to kind of make it a little bit more lopsided. And yeah, this is already looking a lot better in my opinion than the original. Now, these skulls here, I want to use in very, very small moderation. In fact, I think it's going to be not all of the dungeons are going to have these just because they are very rare and I want to keep them rare. These ones can only spawn in ancient cities, I believe, or you get them by blowing up a skeleton with a charged creeper. And that's pretty difficult, especially if you don't know it exists, but I think having at least one in every maybe 4 skeleton spawners would be really, really cool actually, and add a little bit more depth and variation to the games. And I do also want to add some chains, and perhaps some chains in here as well. I kind of also want to add some candles or some other detail blocks, but I don't want to add any light in here, and I don't want it to be too busy. So I think all I'm going to add is maybe a little bit of redstone spots, and we'll call this good. Now chests would spawn randomly in here, just regular chests. We'll do something fun with trap chests a little bit, but for now we'll just add a chest in here, and we'll add a chest in here. Make it so that way you come in and you see the loot. Come in, you loot. There are gonna be skeletons all over the place. It's gonna be dark in here. It's gonna be scary, and I think this is a pretty solid first dungeon. So let's move on to the zombie and see what different things we can do with that. But real quickly, before we go over to the zombie, here's what it would look like if it was the more frosty theme. Just forgot to replace that trapdoor, or iron door. And on this side, I actually hid this chest underneath some snow, which I think is a really, really cool idea. Get it? And yeah, I really, really like the look of this. I think variation, perhaps this could also only spawn in underneath an ice biome, or maybe it just spawns anywhere. I don't know. Whatever sounds cooler. I did it again. That one was unintentional though. Okay, onto the zombies. Okay, so here is our zombie spawner here, and I think instead of a more square design like we went with the skeleton, I think we're going to curve this out a little bit and have a little bit of an opening over here, make it feel a little bit more organic. We are definitely going to keep a lot of this mossy stone and probably in the walls as well. Although I might break it up with just some regular stone as well, just to make a little bit more variation because plain cobblestone doesn't look the greatest. I feel like the zombie spawner is the most iconic out of all of them. So we're not gonna change the color palette too much like we did with the ice skeleton one. And I do think moss will definitely look the best for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure out what shape this is gonna be, and I will be back in a minute. So I think I'm happy with this shape. It's a little bit narrow, which honestly I think is a good thing. And maybe let's make this look a little bit rounder actually now that I'm looking at it. But I think, again, this is already much better than the school, just the basic old square. And this size is actually pretty similar to how most of the original dungeons were anyways, so I think that is a good thing. Now, what are we gonna do for decoration? And I don't know, I'm feeling catacombs, so let's get some stairs. Let's do, honestly, the new tough bricks or here might be a really good idea. And we're gonna make a super, super simple coffin here. Just by doing a few stairs and then a little bit of that on top. And we're gonna actually hide one of the chests inside here. Um, and I'm not quite sure actually on how this looks. I'll mess around with it a little bit. But I want to also talk about where we're gonna hide the spawner. And initially I thought about hiding it in here, which could also work, honestly. So maybe similar to how I have the skeleton one have a random chance of spawning on either side of the room, maybe this one has a random chance of hiding under here. Or maybe, since we're taking inspiration from catacombs, there'll be holes in the walls. Ooh, diamonds. And maybe the zombie spawner will have a random chance of spawning in one of these little areas here. And I think in order to designate that these are little cubby holes here, maybe just some smooth stone in the walls. I don't know. I'm gonna mess around with that a little bit off camera so I can focus a little bit more. But this is gonna be the general idea. I think I'm just gonna decorate this area and then come back in and show you guys when that is done. So I will be right back. Alrighty, so if we come in here, I went ahead and changed things up a lot. First and foremost, I added different texture into here. I made this a little bit narrower with a few blocks up here. And I made the roof kind of shaped a little bit more like a, I guess, natural cave. And went ahead and actually made the roof not be natural like it is in the original dungeon. And I went ahead and as you can see, I only have two little slots here. I didn't want to go too insane with them or add too many. And I also added this little arch instead of that coffin that I added earlier. I think I like this a little bit better. Maybe it does need a little bit more tweaking, but it's fine for now. I went ahead and hid a little chest under here for now. And go ahead and break these. Wow, this one also has a chest behind it. And this one happens to have the spawner behind it as well. So again, it's going to be really dark in here. So the player is going to need to bring torches. And this time they have to break a block. And I think this is actually really nice. I didn't add too much detail. And I do want to add, just again, same thing as the skeleton, maybe there's a 1 in 3 chance that a zombie head will spawn in one of these dungeons to make them a little bit more easy to get than only having one method in the game. So it still keeps it rare, because dungeons themselves are rare, and making it a 1 in 3 is also rare. And I feel like the redstone blood isn't something that would actually be added into vanilla Minecraft, but it just looks good, so I'm gonna keep it for now. Don't want to add too much more detail. added a little bit of moss in here as well. And I think I'm gonna call this good for what I think a dungeon, a new dungeon would look like in Minecraft if they updated it. And with that, we have one more left. That is the spider one. So let's hop over to one of those and figure out what we're gonna do for that one. Alrighty, so here we have our spider spawner. This one's a really small one, actually. It's kind of cute. And fair warning, I am going to talk a little bit about real life spiders. So if just hearing me talk about them freaks you out, maybe skip ahead a little bit. But it should be fine. And I kind of want to take inspiration from tarantulas for this particular dungeon here, because tarantulas are a pretty cool spider in that they actually dig, or they don't dig, they find an abandoned hole and then they lay out a web on the outside that acts as almost a tripwire, so that way the tarantula knows when there is a prey item outside there, so then it can come out and attack it and then bring it back into the nest where it can eat it. Now obviously that's not really a thing in Minecraft. I could do stuff with tripwire hooks, but I think that's a little bit too complicated for just a simple dungeon redesign. Because again, we are keeping these pretty simple. And I kind of want to save that sort of idea for a abandoned mineshaft possible reconstruction. So again, let me know if you want to see that. Make sure you leave a like and comment. And yeah, so I'm just going to take inspiration from that shape and add some height variation, where here's our entrance and it's going to go down and open up into a little area where we'll have our lovely spawner and loot. So same as last time, I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick and come back and show you guys when it is done. Alright, so here we have our new shape. I kept it pretty square down here because the problem with spiders is their AI is kind of stupid when it comes to climbing, so I was worried if I added a lot of like texture like this, they would get stuck in these areas and that wouldn't be very fun. So I kept it pretty square, which isn't the most realistic in terms of actual spiders, but I think in terms of the spider AI, we have to keep certain things in mind. I'm a little worried that this area might be even too narrow for them, but I made sure it was too wide and everything, so as I don't think the players will be able to cheese it too hard. Obviously I can't prevent all forms of cheesing, but I can try and prevent at least some of it. And I think, honestly, it's mostly just going to be adding webs to here. Add webs to the corners, add webs in here, because, yeah, obviously, and I think adding some in the entrance, so that way the player has to either push through or cut through them with a sword, I think will be a lot of fun. But you don't want to go too overboard with it. And I think, honestly, there's no spider heads, so I can't add anything fancy with that. It could be cool if they added the spider head. I don't think they ever would. But honestly, the spider one, there's not a whole lot more you can add. Maybe I could add some redstone again to make it look like these spiders maybe drew stuff in. And as for hiding it, I think really the best bet is to take inspiration from the abandoned mine shafts and just hide them in a little bit of web. Not super hidden, not super creative, but I think in the end, this is just going to be a lot more fun and interesting than just a plain old boxy square anyways. So I think it'll work out alright. And as for the walls, I do kind of want to keep them just the basic dungeon texture, because I don't think there's a whole lot more stuff you can do to make it spidery. Could add some stone, but the reason I'm not is because, in this case, we're in a stone biome, right? So it's just gonna blend in too much there. If it was on deep slate level, then it would stand out a bit more and would be more uniquely noticeable as a dungeon. But I can't do that because sometimes it spawns in the stone layer, and I feel like one of the most iconic things about dungeons is you see a little bit of cobblestone poking out of a corner and you go, wait a minute, that doesn't spawn naturally. There must be something there. And you break it, and sure enough, there's a zombie spawner there. Find an enchanted golden apple. It's great. And I really want to make sure that all of the blocks on the outside are unique, at least to some sense. Hence the cobblestone and the in the skeleton dungeon using the bricks. Now the bricks can be found in other places like for strongholds, but it's fine. And yeah, honestly, this is pretty simple. I think I will add the blood just to tie in the other two as well. Make it a unique thing to the dungeons. Although I think technically they changed their names to no longer be dungeons. I can't remember what they're called, but they're Minecraft dungeons, okay? I know they have a game called Minecraft Dungeons, but these can still be Minecraft dungeons. I don't care. And for loot, why did I just type loot in there? I am a professional gamer. I think I don't want to just cover things in web. Maybe I will have little outcroppings here. Maybe some stone brick in here to kind of indicate that there might be some hidden back there. Again, just to make things interesting. That is a pretty good stopping point. Let's go ahead and take a run through real quick back over the 3 dungeons we did, and I'll see how they might look in survival, and just have some fun with it. Fun with our new dungeons. Alright, and here we are in survival. Let me just go ahead and place a few torches around. Caving, mining some stuff. And ooh, look at this. Oh, there's a skeleton dungeon here. Let's go ahead and let's raid this. Alrighty, alright. Let's place a torch down and let's see. Just pretend that was closed already. Let me eat up a little bit real quickly. Go ahead and come in here and ooh, I wonder if there's anything under here. I did not put any loot in. Oh god, that's an arrow straight in my eye. That doesn't look good. Okay, maybe I should have put loot in here before coming in here. Whatever, we'll do that for the other ones. And, ooh, what's over here? Let me just grab this real quick and come in here. More loot that totally exists, and aha! Here is the spawner. So I'll go ahead and place a torch on that, light this area up, and I think we are safe. And, yeah, that was pretty cool. Very similar to how in a normal dungeon would run, but that's to be expected after all. We are keeping these pretty similar. And I'm just noticing I never changed the roof. Maybe I should have, but this is how the original dungeons did look, so I don't know. We'll see. But let's go to the zombie one. Let's say we're exploring these caves, Come down here a little bit. And oh! So look at that. Here is some cobblestone. This must be a spawner. And yep, there is certainly a zombie in here. I'm gonna do this without torches. See if we can get a few more zombies to spawn in here. And wow, okay, here's some solid loot. Look at that. Oh no. Oh god. Oh god. If I die, that would be embarrassing. Okay, maybe I should light things up. Oh god. Something spawned, I swear, right there, but I think we're okay. Let's go ahead and break this. And oh, we have to mine that a little bit, and some more loot. Wow! Would you look at that? Acquire hardware. Let's go and let's see what's behind here. And bam, there is our zombie spawner. Let's go ahead and light that up a little bit more and heal up. And yeah, again, that was a lot more fun, I think, than just an ordinary. And obviously I knew exactly where these chests were and stuff. But I think if it's randomized in an actual survival world, that'll make things a little bit more fun. And yeah, now let's do the last one, our little spider one. And last one, we're in this little cave here exploring, and oh my goodness, that is a spider dungeon. Let's go ahead and kill this guy right here. Oh boy, they're already coming out. Let's go ahead and break some of these webs. I know some people are going to be so mad at me for breaking these webs with a sword and not shears because, you know, cobwebs, they're so rare in this game, aren't they? Oh, I did not place that quick enough. I'm joking, by the way. Cobwebs, they're very easy to find. I don't know why anyone would say that. But yeah, go ahead and break these blocks, and there's a chest here, and ooh, looting too. I actually have no idea what was in these chests, by the way, so this is actually a surprise for me. And okay, so we need to break that block above there, and bam! Ooh, a saddle. Nice, some more food. And yeah, I think that was pretty cool. Another place to get cobwebs is always nice. And again, I think this is just far more interesting overall than just having a plain old box with just some cobblestone and some mossy cobblestone. It makes the game a little bit more fun while still keeping it vanilla or feeling vanilla. And with that, I think I'm going to end the video right here. Let me get rid of the spider noises. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of my ideas and go ahead and leave suggestions yourself. What would you do? And I will see you next time, possibly for either a survival let's play with one of my good friends or for a transforming a mineshaft video. So, goodbye!